I wonder what my dad could be talking about today. Let's head on inside. I bet it's something important.
Well, hi, Lucas. I'm having a conversation with Michael Sullivan. We're talking about what the IRS doesn't want you to know. So, Mike, what were you telling me about in terms of what the IRS doesn't want you to know about can you take care of your tax debt other than fully paying them?
I don't think IRS wants you to know they have a currently non-collectible program. Everyone hears about the offer and compromise because marketing firms, that's all they do. They can save penalties and interest, they can settle your tax debt, but there's two other programs that IRS has. As a former agent, you can only close a case one of three ways. The first is offer and compromise. You recommend an offer and compromise, you have to send that in. Payment agreements, and third, your case goes in hardship that you can't pay. But you never hear IRS ever advertise, we can put you in hardship. However, believe it or not, about 56% of all taxpayers that call IRS do not have the money to pay IRS. And we call it in the business of tax hardship, but the realistic name, Josh, is what? It's currently what?
CNC, currently not collectible.
Yeah, currently not. That's where most of the people wind up. And the reason they're calling is they can't pay, and what? They don't know what to do. So that's what people that like Josh, that we want to get that information out to you to try to help you, because our goal is to give you advice, not to sell you something, but let you be able to make a decision that really best suits the financial needs that you have.
I think the thing that is out there in the news all the time is the offer and compromise program. That's the most complicated program, the most paperwork to submit, and the IRS doesn't want to let you know that in 23, 41% of the people who applied got approved, and in 2024, 21% of the people who applied got approved. And I don't think they want you to know that, because that's a winning game for the IRS. Hey, too bad, so sad, you still owe us a lot of money. So with the offer and compromise, it's paperwork heavy. The most paperwork that you have to you prepare in order to get approved by the IRS, and the approval rate is super low. And you paid a lot of money to get that offer and compromise application, and the people that helped you put it together didn't know how to put it together and didn't really care if you got approved by the IRS or not. They just cared if they got paid. Mike, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there were 35,000. First of all, I accepted offer and compromise for the United States government. A pen of mine would either go ahead actually and approve your offer and compromise, or it would deny your offer and compromise. And as Josh knows, I have a best-selling book on Amazon called The Offer, the secrets to it. So whatever I'm telling you is gold to you. So 35,000 people, Josh, as you and I know, had offers put in, but only 7,000 people had their offers accepted. And I talked to a couple agents who worked there, because they knew I was an agent, and they said, the reason most are rejected is people just don't know what the hell they're doing, and they get a lot of frivolous offers. Most of them, he says 80 or 90% of them are coming from big box firms who don't know what they're doing. And as I tell everyone, Josh, you and I know this, is, if you're going to give your money to someone for an offer, you ought to Zoom with that person. You ought to find out who's doing the work. You ought to find out what they know. And if you're not giving that person a financial statement to review, you've probably wasted your money. That person needs to pull up your financial statement and tell you why your offer and compromise is going to get accepted. That's why the industry has a bad name, is because people choose the wrong tax resolution company.
The other thing that I've noticed since October of 2025, there's been a huge influx of individuals, and I'm not going to call them masqueraders, I'm not going to call them people who haven't had any experience, but there are a lot of brand new names that are putting their face on YouTube and putting themselves out as tax experts to help people solve their tax problems. And I think they've probably bought a business in a box, and they've learned a few things here and there, but I don't know that you're going to get the best resolution possible. I mean, this is America. You get what you pay for. And if you're paying an affordable rate for somebody to do something that you're not really sure about their credentials, that's something you should ask about first. How many years they've been doing something and what their experience is like. How many cases they've solved, that kind of a thing. Right, Mike?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, at the end of the day, the thing that bothers you and myself the most is the number of people who've taken one or two classes. They pay about $5,000 to take a course, and they think they're IRS tax resolution offer and compromise experts. Josh and I have worked thousands. I think Josh has been doing this over 20 years. I've been doing it a bunch of years. So basically, yeah, if you want to know if your offer is going to get through, all we need to do is look at your financial statement. We'll tell you, people waste all the money you want, but if you really want your car fixed, you're going to go to a true mechanic. You're not going to go and pay for someone who does a lube job really to go ahead and fix your car. That's basically what people are doing. They're paying for a lube job to have their offer and compromise go in. And the downside to that is you extend the statute of limitations, and the money that you gave IRS keeps, plus you've given IRS a roadmap into your financial statement and finances. Those are three things that are really not very positive. And Josh, let me tell people what the rest of the story is. It's one thing now, you have an offer accepted, and that's great. Some people sit back. I've got 2 or 3 calls this year when something happened within the last 5 years that their offer got rejected. I think they're not told the whole story. Can you tell people what I call the rest of the story about what happens in the next? That's really important, don't you think? Your people want to know?
After your offer gets approved, you need to stay current and not add to your tax liability and file your taxes on time for the next 5 years. Nobody tells you about that either, do they? So if you're not current, it's like taking a train and going off the tracks, and you got to start all over from ground zero.
IRS keeps that money, and here's the problem. Most of the offers that we get are not from W-2 wage earners. Most of them are from self-employed people. And once people are been self-employed, they get in habits, and that's not making estimate payments. So the people who are not making estimate payments are more likely to get their offers in compromise rejected after their offer is approved because they didn't meet the terms of the offer and compromise. That's so important.
3 things you need to have done in order to be approved by the IRS for an offer and compromise is you need to have all of your last 6 years of taxes filed and accepted and entered into the IRS system. Second, you can't have filed bankruptcy and being processing through bankruptcy. It's possible to have passed through bankruptcy previously, but you can't be in the process of settling a bankruptcy estate. And the third, you can't be under an IRS audit. And if you're under an audit, you know it because you get those IRS nastygrams that's saying, we have selected your 2022 tax return for examination. Please report to the IRS office at this time and date with this kind of information.
Josh,
audits aren't nice.
Can I add a 4th thing?
Yes.
The 4th is you have to be current for the last 6 months. You have to have enough withholding being taken out, or you have to have your estimate payments made for 6 months. If not, the offer, I used to work in the offer group, so when the offer processors, when the cases come in, it's in the book, when the offer processors are looked, the first thing they're looking for are all the tax returns filed like you mentioned, and second, have you been current for the last 6 months? If you're not, boom, the case goes right back to you. And that's what most people don't know, right?
And let's address the surprise for right now. Right now it's January, the beginning of the year. This is a magical time of year because there haven't been 6 months that have passed. So if you make one estimated payment for the month of January and you're applying at the end of January or beginning of February and their request is, are you current? You can say yes. Now it will take a while for the IRS to get to that application, but then you want to continue to make your quarterly estimates. And if you make monthly estimates, cash flow wise, it's a lot easier. So you make an estimate in February, you make an estimate payment in March. It shows goodwill to the person who looks at your document and says, oh, is this person current? And they're going to look at your payment schedule that you've made estimates. That's important. I've got a piece of paper in my office that I help share with other people how the different phases of how you make your online payments to the IRS and apply them to the current year for your estimates.
Yeah, Josh, that gold frame behind you is special. Plus, you got some 5 letters next to your name. Everyone seems to have letters these days. I just use me. Could you tell us what's in that gold frame, please? I'd appreciate it.
This one right here, it's my United States Tax Court practitioner. I am licensed to sit before the U.S. Tax Court, but I am not an attorney. I'm considered a non-attorney. So I help people out with complex tax situations. What's that?
Have you played an attorney on TV?
No, I haven't played an attorney on TV.
Just checking.
All right. And then this bottom one is my enrolled agent. I've been an enrolled agent since 2007 when I started doing more complex work with the IRS. And I got sworn in before the U.S. Tax Court in 2019.